Like it'll hit like 11,000 and then go to 3, and then hit 17,000 and go to 6. And so like we like, so it's not like, so what Doge is even doing right this second is not like unheard of, or it's like weird or anything. It's actually to be expected.
This is Amigos PC.
If you were looking for a highbrow, fancy, smart, regal podcast with hosts that love to talk about horse riding, badminton, and trips to the vineyard, you're in the wrong place. This is Amigos PC. If you're looking for drinking, random nonsense, stunts, shenanigans, and balls out craziness, you've hit the jackpot. This is Amigos PC, and this is Scott and Mark.
Welcome back to the Amigos PC. Today's episode, we have a very special guest, David Mitchell Jr. He goes by I am David Mitchell Jr. on Instagram. He also has a very successful YouTube channel, discusses an array of investing from anywhere from real estate all the way to crypto. Today we're going to kind of try to dive in a little bit deep with crypto with him. David, if you could just give us a little bit of your background, and if you could tell us a little bit about yourself.
Beautiful. First, thank you for having me on, Mark. I definitely greatly appreciate it. So, so pretty much in a nutshell, that's pretty much what I do as far as like on YouTube is documenting like my journeys, whether it's from like real estate or any particular interest I have in stocks. Some of my portfolios, I started being more open about my investments during the pandemic last year because everything was just on sale. So I felt like it was a great opportunity. So I just started, sharing some of the plays that I saw, and with a lot of the major industries in the country being like 50% off, it was just an amazing time to be alive. So I started sharing, and that pretty much became popular. And with Dogecoin, I took an interest in that in early January, and I didn't say anything about it. And I started like sharing like some of the plays and some of the responding to a lot of things that I started seeing in threads. And just recently, it's really taken off on YouTube. So I'm growing at a phenomenal rate right now. So I'm just really grateful.
What was it, like 45,000 views on one of your videos just recently?
Wow.
Like, it's insane.
Yeah. It was 45,000 on the one from last week. And the one I dropped last night, it just crossed over 25,000.
Holy, wow.
I know. And then out of nowhere, not out of nowhere, with these videos, you basically jumped from, you had a goal, right, of 5,000 this year or something like that?
Yeah, I wanted to do, my birthday is in July. So I wanted to do, my 30th birthday is in July. So I was like, okay, I want to have 5,000 subscribers by July. So I was like, I'll put it to the 31st of July, even though my birthday is a little earlier in the month.
Yeah.
And before I made the Dogecoin video, I was at like 1,300 subs. And right now I'm growing at about 2,000 a week.
Wow. Yeah, I saw when I checked, I looked today, you're like 5,100 subscribers. Or something.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, wow. Yeah. Fantastic. So you got it. You made your accomplishment early. So now you have to shoot for 10.
Yeah, I'm going to change everything. I'm definitely going for 10 while I have everyone's attention and everyone's like, I'm definitely changing it to 10.
Heck yeah. That's the right mentality right there.
Absolutely.
We used to do the podcast together in a controlled setting, and Scott, unfortunately for me, but a very blessed opportunity for him, he's moving across the country from Arizona to Tennessee. It's probably closer to your neck of the woods.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I'm in Atlanta.
Oh, yeah, you're very close.
Yeah, so now we're like completely remote, and we're still kind of troubleshooting through some of it.
Yeah, that's a big adjustment. Yeah,
it is. Especially because Mark was the tech guy, and now it's just me I have to figure it out as I go.
Is that why your mic is off? Because he's not there?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Make sure in your cam and in the little sprocket, the cam and mic settings, make sure it's actually picking up the USB.
What are you talking about?
Like on the bottom of the studio.
Okay.
David, when you or as you were just talking right now, you made a mention, with investing, you've been doing that for a while. What initially got you into investing, and what was like your first investment project that you were working on?
What initially got me into it was I read Rich Dad Poor Dad when I was like 15.
Yeah, it's a very good book to start with.
Yeah, and my an attorney, he was like a friend of the family. He recommended it to me, and it pretty much just like changed my life. And I read like most of the books in the Rich Dad series, and I started going to like seminars and like researching everything and looking at like franchises, and it literally just changed the course of direction for like my life. And I just became like fascinated with it and just started consuming as much information as possible. And it even, because I had no intentions of being like because I've worked in sales, I've done like business to business, people, like everything as far as for, building up salesmanship skills. And I know that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't read that book and just had an interest as far as like how business and capitalism works and how the economy works. Like it just changed the trajectory of my life. And my first investment, I started with stocks like a while ago, back with like Merrill Lynch, but it was a rough time because I turned 18 in 2009.
Okay.
And that was right after the world pretty much went to hell.
Yeah.
So it was like a rough time. I was looking at like some real estate there. So I started doing like some partnering kind of like with crowdfunding.
Okay.
I still don't think that's a bad idea. It just depends on how much money you have. But that was more so first investment. It was something similar to like, I guess, something similar would be like Fundrise right now. Like, I'm not sure if you remember what Fundrise is, but you can they split up, pretty much pool the money together and they diversify it through like different commercial assets and real estate, whether it be rental properties, giant commercial properties, retail, and you get certain percentages over like 5 years. It's normally like 10 to 12%.
Oh, wow.
Is it PTP or P2P kind of like your percentage of the company kind of thing?
Yeah. Well, technically, you can't. It's like a penalty if you can't pull it out for a year. First of all, but after that, it's kind of like a penalty if you pull it out like before like 5 years. But you get a percentage of like the rental income. But they have like some little formula because it's only like a minimum of $500 to invest, but you could be investing into like a multi-million-dollar property. So if you do the math on that, you're not going to get much. But
right,
it's a start. It's something. You get a K2 form at the end of the year, so you can certainly feel like an investor, even if you're not making anything.
Right.
So that essentially, when you were doing that was basically real estate with the crowdfunding and doing that portion, correct?
Correct.
All right, cool. I mean, I dabble in real estate, and we almost just bought a warehouse in my hometown, Racine, Wisconsin, recently. In disarray, it had 20,000 or something like that, and the value itself. When you're talking Wisconsin, you don't really get big figures until you get in the really nice areas, but the value was worth around 180, and we were kind of entertaining it until we just couldn't really figure out how we wanted to go with it. So we put it on pause. The city owns it, so it's like just not going anywhere. So once we actually figure out what we want to do, we can actually pull the trigger on it.
Yeah, I understand that. I bought some land last year in like a subdivision. So
yeah, I saw that video. So you essentially developed your own subdivision?
Well, I'm going through I'm starting it. Yeah, definitely starting it. It's a lot of hoops to jump through for sure.
I would imagine it's pretty big. It's a pretty big task.
Yeah, and I thought I was getting like a break because that property was actually part of like a larger subdivision that they had stopped building actually around 2008, because I looked at it like many years ago, and it was going to be like this giant subdivision. They had already did like the civil engineer work, paved the streets, ran like the electrical sewage and stuff like that. And something happened with the funding, so pretty much it's been sitting there for like a decade.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I did some research and like reached out to like the owners, and I bought like a parcel in because they're pretty much dividing it up and selling it anyway.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, okay, well, since a lot of the civil engineering is done, that'll save me some money. But, these things like zoning and permits and stuff like that, and getting water access. So it's a lot of. I saved some, but I'm still learning. I'll say that I'm learning.
It's an experience, and if you've never done it before, you got to learn all the steps in figuring out what happens next.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is this kind of like the biggest project you've ever took on, or has it been something else that you close to it?
No, this would definitely be the biggest one, like personally and like financially, because like those numbers keep going up. So,
yeah.
So yeah, definitely the biggest project I've taken on for sure.
Now, to kind of derail that a little bit and jump into crypto,
Sure.
You had mentioned with Dogecoin, you started you saw it, you started responding to threads and things like that. What was like the initial thing that attracted you to Dogecoin?
I like because I know that when I looked into it, because I know like the biggest thing for a lot of people would be like the inflation part, but because of the attention and stuff that it was getting, like around like January, I felt like this could have a lot of momentum, relatively soon. And I saw that it was still like cause I purchased from like 2 cents up to like 5 cents, which is still roughly my my cost. But I felt like with the momentum, and then Elon was playing with it, I was like, okay, this has the potential to be a good short-term investment. Because that was initially what I was going to do. I was just going to ride it up and like trade it out. Pretty much like not a day trade, because I knew it would take a little longer, but just was going to be a quick turnaround for me. And just that profit opportunity with it being so cheap, I thought that it attracted me initially. But once I started like diving into it and looking at the community, I think there's definitely some more room there for a longer term.
Yeah. Now, what are your thoughts now? Like right now, obviously on the spot right now, but it's actually going like it was hit 45, and then now it's been kind of trickling down recently, and then right now it's actually pretty low.
Last I checked,
where it's been. Yeah,
I checked like not too long ago. It was like going through the floor basically, but
yeah, that's what I mean. So like I'm saying, it's like I'm around 6 cents when I got in, 5-6 cents.
Sure.
And I'm still gonna. My thought is I'm gonna hold. I think Mark probably is gonna hold too. But that's kind of my goal. Is that kind of something where you're shooting for as well to see how it goes, or do you have a spot where you're thinking that you might be kind of done?
Yeah. No. Well. Yeah. For right now, I'm holding. That's pretty much what I covered in my my video yesterday, because I know Elon's been playing with it. So I know he can always give it like a good boost, and he said something about putting it on the moon. So I was like, I'll definitely stick around for that.
Yep.
But I think that long term, because I did a bunch of comparisons in the video I posted the other day, and I think that long term that we can still realize higher gains than what we've seen so far. And I know there's a movement to make it the people's currency, and I kind of dove into that to kind of like what that would mean as far as if Bitcoin is going to be the gold of crypto and Doge is going to be the dollar. That means that certain aspects have to take place because of the inflation. With the dollar, we have to take on debt like that. It's because it's inflating every year, that those dollars have to be attached to something, and it has to grow as far as with inflation. And I went over the importance of how that if we all took the Dave Ramsey approach in America, it would pretty much crash the economy. Like debt is a necessity. Like that's why our economy is attached to real estate, and we have to buy homes. We have to take out loans for cars and education. Like that's what has to happen when you have a currency that has inflation. Like our debt per citizen, I forget the name of the website, but you can see it. It's rising like by the second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And And so I compared that to saying that with Doge, it's something similar to that. Like somebody has to hold if you have inflation and you're going to use it as far as like a currency between people. So us being technically weighted down with debt is pretty much like that version of holding. Because the dollars have to have something to attach to so that we can continue to trade. Otherwise, we'll just have a bunch of it sitting around, and then we'll go into hyperinflation, and it'll be like Zimbabwe. So that was pretty much like the breakdown as far as like what I see happening. So I think that as a community, if people are going to start utilizing it in businesses, like I saw like Mark Cuban did it with the Mavericks. And I heard of a few other places, but if that's going to be the goal, then we're going to have to figure out a way to, combat the inflation so that it will not necessarily, it's going to still be like on a decrease, but as we start using it more, we can kind of like stabilize the price some and realize higher gains from where it is right now.
What you bring that up. And talking about stabilization, there's this idea that I've been kind of tossing around, watching things unfold as of recently in my head with Dogecoin. And, people are really trying to adapt and use it as the people's currency, right? And companies are starting to latch on to say, yes, I will take, we'll take Dogecoin as a form of payment. The idea that I've been kind of toying with is that if, let's say we get Doge to $1, right? And that, I think, still going to be a realistic nutmeg hit. If it stables off and then becomes a stable coin at $1, don't you think that at that point it could kind of be something similar to, the USD coin or DIA or something like that along the lines where it's still the people's currency and they can use it freely to exchange? And essentially it's just our next stable coin. Like I know devs would have to get involved and there'd have to be some massive overhaul to, where the cap is and all that fun stuff with Doge, but that could be a realistic possibility if it does become the people's coin, right?
Yeah, no, I definitely believe that because, the biggest thing that we're facing, even what I see like in the comment sections, even like my videos, is pretty much the inflation and the fact that, okay, Doge technically doesn't do anything. And that's what's going to be like a turnoff for a lot of investors. But the dollar doesn't do anything. It doesn't even hold value. Gold doesn't do anything. Diamonds doesn't do anything. Like it's not like exclusively to Doge or whatnot. The value is in the perception and the willingness of us to trade it. And I think that if we, as a community, we build that. It's like you said, like incorporating it into businesses, that it will have like at least on that part, it'll be able to kind of like stabilize more. There wouldn't have to be a cap to necessarily like stabilize it. But even if you capped it, that would take away from eventually it would take away from the portion of it being like the people's currency, because the inflation kind of keeps the price accessible to everyone.
Yeah.
Because I think that the reason Bitcoin is, out of reach so much is because of the amount of people that are pouring money into it, and because it has such a limited supply, it continues to go up. Because if Dogecoin had a cap, I only can imagine what it would be at now with the amount of money that's been flowing into it.
Oh yeah, I mean the price would skyrocket, but that would defeat the purpose of Doge. So even if they stabilized it out at $1, maybe at that point we wouldn't want to have a cap still. It's just trying to figure out how to keep it stabled at $1, so it could be a stable coin essentially to trade with.
Yeah, and then another issue you would run into is like, would you want to keep it at $1? Because the dollar is losing value itself. So if so technically, if you were using the dollar as like a measuring stick, you would still be suffering from inflation, just not Doge's inflation. It would be the dollar's inflation.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think that we have to just pretty much incorporate it. And if we did like a dev overhaul, we can probably like lessen the amount of coins. I think it's like 5.2 billion new a year, something like that.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous number.
Right. And I'm going to do the math on that to see, at its current prices, to see how much of new currency would have to be injected to kind of balance that out. But if it's rising, the amount of new currency that it would take to balance that out would also increase. When it was below a penny, it wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
So we would, just have to pretty much focus on if we're going to like save in it or trade it. But the biggest thing that we would have to do is get businesses to incorporate it, because regardless of us just putting money into it and having it sit, if we're going to have it be the people's currency, it has to be a unit of measure for transactions, goods and services and stuff like that. So that's going to be the biggest milestone there.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, go ahead, Mark.
Go ahead, Scott.
I would say one thing that I noticed, like when I was kind of getting on board, so I got on, I don't know, I would say February or so, or maybe it was January. I don't know. Maybe not so much, because probably February. But when I was getting on board with the Doge, I noticed like I was following Reddit is where I noticed where things were happening. And the trends were, a few were like really good as far as like how many people were, upvoting or whatever on Reddit. And then next thing you know, as it hit 10 cents and it was going up and up, I noticed that a lot more people, obviously because more people were involved, like it was booming even more. So I was like, I think this is gonna explode. And then next thing you know, we hit the 45. So I was like, well, shit, maybe this is something. And a lot more in Reddit seems to be growing more and more. And then, I think it is a lot bigger than it is. And I think maybe with the price being, lower now, I think it's just like, it's probably whales selling off some of their stuff to kind of keep it down. I mean, I don't know.
Oh, for sure. Because when you have something that increases like 300 to 400% in like a week, that's a magnet for day traders. So new money is coming like that.
Yeah.
Like they're coming running with their wallet. So I knew that whatever the spike was, I know that it would overshoot just because of all the money that was going to be pumped in there just to try and get a swing trade off of it.
Yeah.
What I find fascinating too about Doge is a lot of kind of what Scott was just talking about. It is the discovery story of Doge. Like a lot of new money is here now, and like you guys have been talking about, you got it in January and February. I've been holding on to Doge for over a year now. And
show off. This guy.
Yeah, he's already on the moon.
I know. Look at him.
Yeah, I am up. I didn't put a huge risk investment into it, but enough to. I think this is gonna do something. So let's try to. Let's see what it does. But it's one of those. Like I said, I like the discovery stories that I hear when people start talking about Doge, because it seems like a lot of people are really passionate about it. Like even though it's the meme coin and now becoming the people's coin, a lot of people are discovering it in ways like you were saying, oh, Elon Musk is now behind this, that now it's getting traction. That's kind of how I discovered it is. I happen to be following Elon Musk because he's doing crazy things with crazy companies that he's building. And next thing I know, he's touting about Dogecoin, and then I'm trying to figure out, well, how did Dogecoin start? And then you start to read the backstory of the guy that basically was all like, "This is a funny coin, and I'm not doing anything with it," and walks away from the project, even though now he's kind of back, but not really.
Yeah.
It's just the discovery phase of this coin for people, I think, is also going to help it grow, just because when they get in, Snoop Dogg just recently did that commercial on Doge Day, and he's kind of made mention and did a couple tags here and there with Doge.
I've seen that.
He's got the dog in there too, though, in the video.
But he's bringing a new audience at that point, and that's bringing in more money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead.
No, I just think with like you were saying earlier, Mark Cuban and with Snoop and Elon, I think all these people, more people getting involved, it's only going to hype it up even more. I just think, it's we're in for the long haul a little bit. It seems right now with all this up and down right now, but I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I started using like some graphs because you can look at whether it's like Ethereum or Bitcoin as far as like in particular, because I know that's one of the major ones. Crypto, based off of what we know now up to date, crypto, no matter which one it is very vital.
Mm-hmm.
And we see these wild swings, and that's cap or no cap. That's business utilization or without business utilization. That it's very vital. And I pointed out several times over even Bitcoin's run that if you had invested pretty much anywhere near like the top, there were times that you would have been negative for over a year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Bitcoin is historic for hitting all-time highs and then crashing like 80% before rallying again to hit an all-time high. And it's done this several times. Like it'll hit like 11,000 and then go to 3, and then hit 17,000 and go to 6. And so like we like, so it's not so what Doge is even doing right this second is not like unheard of or it's like weird or anything. It's actually to be expected.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like you were saying, we've seen Bitcoin go from, almost 20,000 hit a wall. What is this, like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and then down to 3. Like it happened overnight.
Right.
It was crazy, and then now it's building back up, and then just recently we're hitting 60, 65,000, and now we're down, and it's near almost breaking 50, getting back into the 40s again. It's just one of those wild rides. You got to be careful, do your research, and then
not for the faint of heart.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
It's not because one day you're quitting your job. One day you're going to quit your job. Next day you're like, oh well, I got to clock back in.
Yeah, gonna call and apologize.
Yeah, sorry. I take my 2 weeks away. My 2 week notice. I was just playing. I need to.
Have you looked into any exit strategies? So I know we kind of briefly talked about. I told you that I wanted to kind of chat about this new. I don't know. I don't know if I want to call it a meme crypto because
it's not
a meme coin. It's not really a meme coin, but people are tokening it as it. Safemoon, and essentially that if people are getting in right now because it is like less than a sixth of a penny, like there's so many zeros in front of where it actually is. But with this type of token, the upswing is the potential is high. It's staggeringly high. And have you looked into or do you know of any type of exit strategies? So let's say Doge does hit that dollar and you got the people that got in right at a penny or before it, and there's just all of that money sitting there. Do you have a strategy or do you know of some type of exit strategy to try to figure out to retain that gain that you just got?
Yeah, because even in like my when I'm speaking to people as far as like my YouTube, I'm not like a financial advisor. I'll never
Neither are we.
I'll never not encourage someone to take profits. But what I normally say is if with crypto is very vital, so definitely invest what you can like afford to lose. And, just decide as far as like, what is like your ultimate goal? So my ultimate goal as far as like with Dogecoin, I don't have like necessarily like a set amount to get, because I got, several thousand shares of, Doge, but I didn't like redo my portfolio for Doge to try and get rich or anything like that. I wasn't like, I have some other plays on that I believe are gonna.
I did.
You did.
I did. So I gotta reevaluate my portfolio.
Yeah, I have some other. I have some other. It's hilarious. I have some other projects on that they're gonna, I believe, come through like sooner than Doge, and it'll be. I have some real. I'll eventually put more money in there or start buying like monthly. But like long term wise, I'm just more so curious to where will Doge be 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Yeah, that's what I'm curious about. Like I'm genuinely curious to see will they put a cap on it, because by then, like if they did put a cap on it, the rush to Doge would be
insane.
Yeah, like we wouldn't we would miss the moon and land on Pluto. Like it was just. I'm genuinely curious about that. Like, okay, what does Doge look like in 2031?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And I think a lot of people think that way as well, because everyone had the opportunity to be involved with Bitcoin. And you see these horror stories about people selling, I think he bought like a Papa John's pizza or something with his Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And it was like, it's worth like 140 million today or something like that.
Yeah. He sold his 10,000 shares to buy 2 pizzas. Yeah. he literally has a thing. He's like Pizza Luis or something. That's what his name is or something. But he's known for that. That's gotta hurt.
Right, and there's another thing. I was looking at Bitcoin because even back then I was reading like the Rich Dad series, and I was going through like gold and silver and through like Mike Maloney's program and looking at the history of the dollar and inflation, all that kind of stuff. And they're talking about Bitcoin, and I thought it was the stupidest thing ever.
Yeah,
and I was like, this is not going to work. And it's like a cryptocurrency. I didn't even bother to look into it. I just completely thought it was stupid. And jokes on me.
Yeah.
So I think that was the case for a lot of people, because we all could have put, $1, $10 or something in the Bitcoin back then. And we kind of overlooked it. I think that people are like, this has the momentum and kind of like the hype. I don't know where this is going, but wherever it's going, I'm going to be a part of it. So
I know I have a very unique story that I don't really like to share out in public when it comes to how I got involved with Bitcoin initially. But with Bitcoin, like I started playing with Bitcoin when it was around $300, and I'm like, and I'm sitting there at working at a financial institution with a coworker right across from me. We're talking a little bit, about Bitcoin, and like, yeah, you never know where it'll go. Yeah, we should probably buy some or something, right? And,
wow.
We ended up buying some. Like I bought a little bit, but it ended up spending it on other curricular activities, and then I never really started to pick it up again until Bitcoin started to hit those big numbers. $8, $11, $12,000 a Bitcoin, and I think back then I'm like, man, I had my hands.
How many did you buy?
I over the time of fooling around with it, when it was around 300, I would say I probably had 30 or 40 of them.
Oh,
Jesus Christ!
I don't really. That's like the first time I've ever actually heard that out loud. I know. That's
your pizza mark.
Yeah, I know. I've never said that out in public whatsoever. So that
I did the math in there.
Yeah, I know. And I see it now, even with the dip that it has had the last couple days.
Yeah, you're
like, oh man.
Sad.
Yep.
Yeah, you're not alone. I think it's a lot of people that every time it's like on the news, Bitcoin hit a new high. There's like, I imagine there's tears being shed all across the country.
Yeah. What's funny is when I started to look at Doge and I seen that Elon Musk was basically promoting it. Getting involved, it started to make me start researching like Ethereum, like what's going on with Ethereum, and I'm like, oh my god, like this coin actually has substantial value. I got to start figuring out how I can really hammer this one in, which we were fortunate enough kind of late-ish, because we started really taking it serious as it broke 600, but we're now mining it. So
Yeah.
we found that investment is a better option to pull with Ethereum for the time being, because eventually it's going to be unmineable. But gains are happening. It's getting crazy.
Right. And because I see that a lot, that's really the reason why I put in my latest videos about talk about like diamonds and other assets that don't necessarily do anything, because of Ethereum, that was people saying that, okay, that's a better alternative to Doge just because of some of the functions.
I know that's a big argument that people have with Doge versus Ethereum or even XRP. Same thing with Safemoon, the new crypto that we kind of briefly mentioned.
Right.
They're like, well, it doesn't have utility. Well, Doge is now starting to get utility. So what now? Like you were saying, the owner of the Mavericks, he's using it to buy merch tickets.
I think the Houston Rockets also are doing some things too.
No way.
Yeah, I saw something recently with them that they're going to be doing Doge stuff too.
Yeah, so more of these people are adapting to accept it as payment. Is that not utility at that point?
It is, and for me, because crypto is so vital. Like I'm not sure, even with businesses. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this or not. I'm not sure if I would trade my crypto for an actual item.
Yeah,
I've seen that was it Tesla or something, where they're working on integrating being able to buy stuff with Bitcoin. And I was like, why would I give you $30,000 worth of Bitcoin today, and tomorrow that Bitcoin's worth $45,000? Like, who really got screwed here? It's not like,
right?
Yeah, that's true.
But you got to look at that in two perspectives. Like, what if you only pay for mining equipment, and you basically have been just holding that? Like you're initially,
you mined a Tesla, basically. That's a possibility too, right? Like you basically
who did get screwed, because you're looking at some machines a few $100, or some machines, a couple 20,000 or
thousands.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I guess if I mined it, that can be a little different. But if I simply just purchased it and put it on a wallet, and then
completely different. You would have had to buy it when it was $300 and then sold it and not had it.
Yeah, no, I would be upset even if it just was if it made a jump the next moment. Like if I bought a Tesla with a Bitcoin for $50,000 and 2 seconds later it went to 55, I want my Bitcoin back. It's not
yeah. I'll pay cash.
Right.
My Bitcoin back.
So you don't think that it necessarily might be a good thing that people can exchange tangible goods for it?
See, I do think it. Well, in Dogecoin's case, it'll be a must, because unless you, because it wouldn't have the same effect as far as holding money at Bitcoin, but because of the wild swings, with the Doge, it wouldn't be as dramatic as Bitcoin, because Bitcoin swings thousands of dollars by the minute. So, but it just depends as far as on how wild the swings were. It's with Bitcoin, I would never. It just wouldn't make sense for me.
Yeah.
Even gold is more stable than Bitcoin. It's
yeah.
You'd be better off going up and paying somebody with a sack of diamonds than Bitcoin. Yeah, I wouldn't do it with Bitcoin. So I'll say that. Yeah, Bitcoin wouldn't be on that list.
I am pretty curious with Bitcoin, what happens when the blocks are done. The blocks will never be done because there will be transactions that need to be validated by proof of work. But at some point, there is no more Bitcoin, and essentially it's exchanging Bitcoin for Bitcoin to validate the transaction through a fee. So I'm curious as to what happens at that point.
I do believe we'll see 6-figure Bitcoin.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
That's what the big banks are saying.
Yeah, I personally believe that.
they're investing in it too, so I'd imagine that does seem possible.
Realistic.
Yeah, realistic.
Yeah, all it takes is somebody to buy half of them. So,
Yeah,
That's true.
and that's another thing
I'll
too.
call up
Because,
my guy tomorrow.
right. That's another thing. When that happens, there's no more in supply that can be generated, right? And then all of a sudden, everybody is trading Bitcoin through transactions. What if someone acquires 51%? Like, there could be a potential real security risk there, right? Like, it's just a lot of unknown for that.
yeah, and that's another thing I think about because I think that would be someone probably like the banks acquiring like large numbers. So maybe not one bank would own 51%, but probably collectively, and they would have like a monopoly on it. And then we'd end up in like pretty much like a Dogecoin situation, because if we were trading Bitcoin, it would be like 0.0032% or whatever, like little fractional share. It's kind of like putting $1 into Bitcoin right now.
Yeah.
And
you couldn't even do anything with it for a dollar. Like, you can't even move that anywhere.
right. It's just, and I think that if we, I think Bitcoin is probably too far gone. Like, I don't think that'll ever be like the people's coin.
It's the corporate's coin. Corporate America's coin.
It is. It's crypto gold. Like, just like when the banks would put gold like in their vaults and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it would make sense for banks to go after Bitcoin and be like, yeah, we're going to put this next to the gold. So it's just like
Gold next to the servers.
right,
Is what that is.
right. It would make more sense for them to do that, and then if we were to trade, it would be like literally like little decimals, and literally put us like pretty much in like a Bitcoin situation, not Bitcoin, Dogecoin situation, where we're trading little fractions. But I guess it's just more stable. But I don't know. I think also another point I want to bring up. I think that depending on how high the price got, I always wondered if like the Federal Reserve would step in, because ultimately I know they get to decide what's money.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I wonder what type of regulation could we face if it became a thing where Bitcoin is now competing with the dollar for trading, or Doge for even that matter. But it's like, okay, it's the people's currency now, and now it's in a position where it's actually competing with the dollar. Or as far as with trading, like I wonder like how that would play out.
Well, as more of these big companies they start to accept a cryptocurrency in one fashion or another, wouldn't that at that point it is competing with the dollar?
Yeah, if it became more like widestream, I'd imagine it would be competing with the dollar, and I'm not even going to say I imagine. I know there would be some swift regulations of some kind coming right behind that. I'm just not sure what angle it would come at, but I'm pretty sure DC would come up with some regulations for that.
Yeah.
Probably even some special taxes.
Of course. I also think that, once more corporate companies get behind the crypto and what, I think regulations, like you said, it's going to probably happen. And I think once that happens, it's going to make it more stable too in the crypto world, because once that happens, then it kind of puts more faith in it for people to then start jumping in who might be scared, because a lot of people think that the regulation is going to be like, all right, where crypto's gone. Like, you know what I mean? Like, then there's some countries that actually say you can't do crypto, or they're stopping crypto, or whatever you have is gone. So like that scares people to, be scared to invest in it.
If you live in New York, like, it's very difficult to even get your hands on crypto.
Oh, really?
I didn't even know that. Yeah.
Really? A lot of exchanges, like, you can't use crypto.com there or anything like that. Like, you have to go.
Really?
Well, I mean, you got to do the shadies thing, and get a VPN. I mean, VPNs really aren't shady. They're more security and things like that. But at that point, you got to tell the internet that you're not where you're at to get involved in crypto, and so it becomes.
Well, then your money's on a ship in the sky, and you hope it comes back, because I know how that goes.
Yeah,
that's happened.
Yeah.
I've had that happen.
You got to worry about within crypto, because you get behind some of these new projects, like we may mention with Safemoon. It's got a lot of hype right now, and people, not like Elon Musk, but celebrities are starting to get in. Like one of the Backstreet Boys is a holder of Safemoon. But
yeah,
Safemoon could.
I don't know. Yeah, it said that that's the celebrity, but yeah, you know what I mean. Like I saw that, I was like, oh, well, that's good, I guess.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's just one additional investor or token holder.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
holder. But with Safemoon, they started screaming scam right away. Just recently, these past few days, and then all of a sudden, it almost seemed like a rug pull. But the builders, the CEO, I don't know if we want to call them builders, but like the creators of the token are very transparent as to what's going on, and they're trying to get it in front of more people, and it's got a good following from what I've seen.
What I like about it is basically that the instant stake liquidity, or whatever that's called, where it basically as people exit or buy, holders gain more coins or tokens or whatever it's called. So you're actually gaining as these people are buying and selling. So as more, you get in early, by the time it actually gets to a point where you're at a penny or wherever it may be, you're going to be sitting very, very good. Hopefully, right? Fingers crossed. Kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that even especially, because I know Doge in particular, over like the last 5 years, it's up like over 150,000%. And I know with the recent hype, I think that we're going to see a lot of like cryptocurrencies popping up now.
Yeah,
I think there's going to be many this year to. I'm not going to say that they're going to be like rug pulls, probably, but
shit. Now you're scaring me.
But just because of because Dogecoin in the last few weeks has created some millionaires.
Yeah,
they have.
Not us, but yeah,
not us.
Right? Yeah.
Thousandaires.
Right. And I think that with that opportunity being there, if you can just get like a fraction of the momentum that Dogecoin is having now, because Dogecoin was making headlines like around the country.
Yeah,
it's outperforming all the other cryptos and stuff like that. And it was like, we can get a fraction of that, we'll be set. So I think there's going to be a lot of cryptos popping up in 2021. It's going to be, you're going to see there's going to be some Safe Moons and Safe Venus and Plutos and all that kind of stuff. So I think we have a lot of things coming on the horizon.
Are you looking? I mean, new projects aren't a bad thing, I don't think. But are you looking at any projects that you're entertaining right now, or maybe doing research on, or something that's catching your eye beyond Dogecoin?
My two, I guess if you want to call them like meme stocks, would be Doge and AMC.
Okay.
Everything else is, I won't say actual state, like what everything else is more traditional companies that are not, trending on like Reddit or Wall Street Bets.
Yeah.
But my two, those are my two. I guess
hopefully happen, like gonna pop off, hopefuls, kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. If it works out, I've changed my life off of meme stocks. I'll be proud to say that.
Yeah. It'll be your license plate, meme stocks.
Oh yeah.
We can kind of shorten that up.
I'll get a t-shirt.
There you go. Yeah.
I don't know. I've liked the journey that Doge has kind of just set me on, and it has opened my eyes up to more crypto projects, because I thoroughly, after reading the white paper with Safemoon, I think it is a viable product. It is something that I've actually been kind of looking for, a way of making a decent stake in something. to where I can just let it sit and hold. Because I am a firm believer of holding, especially with like Dogecoin, things like that. Just trying to find a way, though, to make passive crypto on top of passive crypto, if that makes sense.
What did you say that this one is like? Didn't you say it was like one that's already out already?
Well, it's like Bonfire, but Bonfire really started at the same time.
You said there was one that there's one that's worth $4 now.
Oh yeah, it's DeFi, DFI.
The DeFi.
They are
this one's like that.
Yep, they're based. It's a weird story with it. So essentially, you know how Ethereum is all about DeFi stuff, right? Like, so they're building a DeFi blockchain, and it's more than just DeFinance and decentralized finance. It's just being independent of everything, including if a video game pops up on this, like it's independently done through Ethereum's DeFi network blockchain. Bitcoin doesn't have, well, they didn't have anything like that at all. And this guy decided to, I have to remember his name, but he decided that he was going to build a cryptocurrency off of Bitcoin, their blockchain, and it be specifically dedicated to decentralized finance. So essentially, this coin is peer-to-peer. It's doing transactions. You can pay for things left and right. They do staking. The longer you hold it, they call it a freezer option. And essentially, it's putting your crypto into a savings account, and you earn like 40% APY. And then at that point, you can either do it flexible, or you can do it through like a long period of time, like 10 years or something like that. But essentially, it's the DeFi
like a CD almost.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Yeah. It's Ethereum though, but on Bitcoin now, and they found a way to basically continue to grow the amount that you're holding. So as long as you're holding it, you can then stake it, essentially. But it's auto staked, so you're just earning crypto, their token, as you're just holding this coin. If that makes sense.
And hopefully this one pans out, because I mean we're obviously making tons of stuff as people are leaving and coming in, but obviously we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, this one pays to be an early investor.
Yeah. And this one started in March, so it's very, very infant.
Yeah. Oh, Safemoon did. Yeah. So did Bonfire. There's a couple different projects that are very similar together.
The same thing. Yeah.
Bonfire, Safemoon, SafeStar. You just got to. What I've always been kind of preaching with, because like I got my father-in-law now in crypto, and he's trying to learn and run through it, and then talk to other people just out and about crypto. I'm all like, you got to do your own research and just try to figure this out. When you find a project and you start to read the white paper that's associated with the project, then at that point, if you like it, you entertain it. If you don't, or you don't feel okay with it, like you just gotta know what you're putting into, or what you're playing with. Not playing with.
And of course, just
sometimes you don't have to invest. I mean, you can do airdrops and things like that with crypto, so you could just accidentally get it
and just be comfortable losing what you're putting into.
Yeah, that's why I don't, even with what I put in, it's like I always preach, I never put in what I'm afraid to lose, because even when Dogecoin didn't take off, like before the recent rally, I saw people saying that they put like I don't know if they were joking or not, I hope they were, but they were like, oh yeah, I put my retirement fund in there. And,
oh yeah.
I sold my boat and all this kind of stuff like that. And I was like, But even so, that was before the rally. I was like, hell, I hope you didn't sell. It would have actually panned out for you.
Right?
Yeah. You saw that a lot with the GameStop or the GameStop stock.
Oh, yeah.
People were like, I'm rolling everything in, their whole, all those memes of the, Wall Street bets, the YOLO kind of thing that they would be saying, putting everything in it. You guys coming back for me? Basically.
Yeah.
Now you guys coming back?
that'll be my biggest. I don't know. I think it's probably the biggest L you can take is if you put everything in and then it doesn't take off, and then you sell at a loss and then it takes off. It was like, oh, you were right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, David, we're approaching up the hour. We got a couple last questions, those oddball ones that we were telling you about earlier.
Sure.
That we wanted to go run by you real quick, and then from there, if you just want to promote anything you got going on currently or upcoming, and then we'll end it from there.
Okay.
Again, these are a little oddball questions. We tend to ask all of our guests a lot of these. With our show, we have encountered conspiracies, and we like conspiracies. We entertain them, whether they be real or whether they be just odd goofball things, or ones we even make up.
Okay.
We've had a couple Australians on the show, and just being funny and kind of jokingly, we've came out and asked them, is Australia real? Like, is it a real place? Are you there? Are you actually sitting on the ground in Australia somewhere? Did Hugh Jackman really come from Australia? My question to you is, if you want to take in consideration that potentially it could not be a real place, do you think Australia could be made up?
I would like to hope it's not. I mean, I guess I guess it could be. I mean, because if you think about it, they do have a lot of. I don't say a lot of, but I know like some of the animals are exclusive to Australia. So, I mean, the koalas, kangaroos, a bunch of little, mythical creatures out there you can't find anywhere else. So, maybe I need to go looking for Australia and get some evidence.
Yeah.
There you go.
Exactly. I mean, it's kind of my philosophy on it. It's like, you get on a plane for 18 hours. At some point, you got to sleep. You wake up. Did you what if they quantum leap you or something?
It's just one big ass horseshoe.
Right.
It takes you somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like, you don't even know.
Yeah, you can take me to like Montana. Like, hey, this is Australia.
Oh, there you go. What the one kangaroo? He looks like all old and shit. On the field.
Did you do sitting on the door handle somewhere?
You got one of the native people out there. Yeah,
it took me to Busch Gardens petting zoo.
Right. So we've been mentioning Elon Musk pretty frequently since we've been talking about Doge and things like that, and we made mention of Elon Musk going to the moon. Well, actually, you made mention of Elon Musk going to the moon. Hopefully, he takes a physical minted Dogecoin with him to help our cause with investing in it or acquiring token. If you were given the opportunity to take a one-way trip to Mars, would you take that trip?
One way?
Mm-hmm.
One way. No gas to come back.
No gas to come back. Yeah, I'd probably have to decline that.
Even if you were one of the pioneer people, like
you're the first people to colonize.
Yeah, okay. Well, would I have communication back with the Earth? Because if I didn't, it would just kind of defeat the purpose. Like,
it's a shitty Wi-Fi. It's delayed, but you can still talk.
As long as if I was a pioneer of going to Mars, then I guess as long as I could, communicate and be a part of like the studies and the initial discoveries, then I'd at least entertain it. But if I'm just shooting off into Mars, I would decline because I might miss it, or I don't know, anybody would even know. There's just a guy that was floating in space. Like,
Elon Musk is putting a team together, and you get the call.
And you're the guy that's going to make the subdivisions on Mars. So you're going to make it happen. You're going to lay out the lines and make it all awesome for people to live in. They call you up.
Yeah, as long as I get to sit on the HOA board now, I'm down with it.
Nice. You made mention of discoveries. Like, would there be something that you would be hopeful to like find if you ended up on Mars with a team?
Something that I would like to find.
I mean, like, or be just hopeful to find out there, whether it be some space rocks or just something.
They're all
you made
space
mention of
rock.
discovery, but yeah,
They're all space rock. We are on a space rock. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, no, I mean, you mentioned building like a subdivision, so I'd be happy, with building investments, and I'd be more happy with what's not there, like the IRS. So,
Oh, nice, yeah.
Yes,
It'd be MRS.
Yeah,
Mars Revenue Service.
yeah, probably the first thing I see when I get out, like a little tax collector building.
Yeah,
right?
just one building. That's the one building that's there. There's a damn IRS building. That would be some shit.
Yeah. And when I get back to the spaceship, I have a parking ticket. Like, it's just
Time to go back.
yeah.
Oh, we don't have gas.
Do you have a guilty pleasure at all? Is there a music that you like to use to get
You like
pumped
Celine
up?
Dion, David?
Yeah.
A guilty pleasure. Okay, I'll say this. I'll sometimes, like, even if I'm doing like a long like road trip, I'll go back and like listen to like a lot of old Disney songs, like on the movies.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah, it brings back.
Lion King and like what else other good songs are there? Like
Lion King. I'll list The Colors of the Wind. I even listen to like some more recent ones with Frozen.
Frozen, yeah, they're Frozen.
Oh yeah. Some of the ones from Hercules. Like, oh yeah,
yeah, nice. That is a good guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
I do that too.
On these road trips, are you also singing along?
Oh, yes.
It depends on which one.
Let it go in the car, just singing "Let It Go."
Yeah, my windows are tinted, so
Yeah, there you go. That's awesome.
All right. Is there? What is a piece of information that you've learned through your journey that it feels like it should be illegal to know this?
Ooh.
That's a really good question.
I don't know. It kind of put you on the spot. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. No, that's actually a really powerful question. Legal to know.
I mean that you should like. I mean, not a lot of people know this,
But
doing it like I feel like I'm not. You may not necessarily be like illegal, but just.
or maybe it's like a law that you know that maybe most people don't know. Maybe something like that.
It's in Mars. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it feels like it's like necessarily like illegal to know, but I find that I'm proving a lot of things that I've heard from successful people to be true. Like leading with like your passion and pushing past like consistency and pushing past your failures and every mistake you pretty much make as far as like a business to get you closer to like the right one. Like I find that I'm actually proving a lot of things true.
Nice.
Because even with recently, like on my YouTube channel, like I put some videos out that didn't even get like 100 views, and like in the last, because at one point in time I got in the last like 48 hours I've gotten more subs than I've gotten in the last year. So, it's just, I'm proving a lot of things true as far as like staying consistent and, like pushing forward. So I think that's kind of like the biggest thing, is because you can read all the self-help books and watch all the videos like on YouTube, but like when you actually start experiencing things for yourself, it kind of, validates those points, and you have like a real story to like attach to why you believe in these things.
Yeah.
It kind of transforms from like ideology to like, it's a personal part of your story now.
I know. Listening to some of those books, like you made mention of Rich Dad Poor Dad earlier, and one that I have been really grown attached to is the abundance mindset versus being, a scarcity mindset.
Yeah.
It's life changing for the most part. I mean, tomorrow something could happen, and it's like, you know what? There's going to be another one. Something's going to something could happen. There's going to be another Doge. There's going to be, something out there. There's plentiful for everyone, and you just, as long as you don't tackle or see things in a scarcity mindset way, it just kind of opens your eyes to, if it's not this one, it's the next one. So we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think that helps us as a community as well, because it allows us to come together and, get more things done versus looking at everyone as competition.
Exactly.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Well, we appreciate that you came on. Thanks for going through our final drill of questions.
No problem. I appreciate you for having me.
It's not a problem. It was a complete joy. Do you have anything that you would like to promote or anything coming up that you'd like to mention on the podcast? This episode comes out in 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks. I don't have anything coming up, but I'll just say, follow my YouTube, David Mitchell Jr., and follow me on Instagram at I am David Mitchell Jr.
Nice.
Awesome. All right, and I'll see you when I'm out there in Tennessee. Well, I'll get close to you.
Yeah, no, actually, I go to Tennessee quite often. So,
nice, cool.
Yeah, we can definitely make that happen.
Yeah, cool.
There you go.
Absolutely.
All right, Amigos out.
This has been the Amigos PC. Make sure to like, subscribe, and review us on all your podcasting platforms. Visit us at AmigosPC.net for our entire library of content and Amigos merch. Till next time, adios.